since I played. I'm gonna come back to this at 8 here. So, what I'm doing is I just went out of the crown, I think. I just don't remember where I'm supposed to go with it, and that's the thing about this third Final Fantasy. It's not very clear where you need to go. It's kind of like figure it out on your own. So as you see here, I come back from the sea because I wasn't sure where to go. And there is a couple of smaller clips on my channel. You know, just walk through was me kind of remember how to open the inventory, etc. because it's been a while since I played. But as you see here, I'm making my way down towards Elpown and then to the west. Like I said on this Twitter, wasn't really sure to go, where to go, so I went back in here. I thought, well, let's make sure, you know, that we got everything the first time around, because sometimes we don't. As you'll see in one of my later videos, and maybe this one or it'll be the next one, you will see that I left things in the cave the last time, trying to get out, because I needed to probably have been a little more before I went in. As you can see, I couldn't really tell where I was going to go at first, and then I'm like, okay. Finally found out where to take the crown, which is going to be up here. You're going to take it up here to this western keep, and you're going to go in, and you're going to talk to this dude, and he's going to say, Wahahaha. And then, from there, we're about to face the big bad. I'm going to give you a little tip on this big bad. He likes to blind you, so make sure you have eye drops or a spell that can take away that blindness. I mean, you can still fight blind, but you're going to have a chance of missing more, of course. But that's just a helpful little hint there, going into this fight. Okay, so now you see here that we have the Mystic Key. Once you have that Mystic Key, there's a couple of places you're going to go. Now in this video, I have not went to all 3 of these places, but I am going to go to all of them probably before I go on to our next part of this game, which will be to go to Mount Duger and Melmond. But once you have that Mystic Key, you're going to want to go to the Temple of Chaos, which is where I've not been yet, as you will see. Or not that I remember now, I may have. And then you're going to go in the Elfheim Castle, and you're going to get some things. You're going to go back to the Western Keep, which you remember is where Cornelia is, and you're going to go over north and west. And then you're going to go back to your Marsh Caves and get things. So, what I did here was first went back to Elfheim, as you see. Now I've rested in the inn. As you see here, I go in, I take my little rest in the inn. And then I'm going to check, and I'm going to make sure that I have all the spells that I want before I leave this area to do anything else, even to go back in the Marsh Caves or whatever. You want to get all of your weapons and items before moving on if possible. The further you get in the game, the more expensive everything is going to be. And some of these items are specialized to these towns, such as the spells in this particular town you cannot get anywhere else. So as you see, I'm going to be going in every shop, or not every shop, but a lot of the shops, and just verifying that I have everything I need, and making sure I don't want to change my mind about what spells I know. where do I want to go first? Should I go back out on the ocean? I'm kind of like trying to do all this on memory, because like I said, as you see as you play through this game, there's no really clear instructions. You talk to the townspeople and they give you hints. There's no clear path here. So, I had stopped playing for a little bit, and then I was like, okay, now, where do I go? I'm telling you ahead of time where you're going to take that Mythic Key, but at this time, I wasn't sure where I was going to go with this key. You can see here I practiced a few of my spells and did a little battle. I like these because they give you a pretty good amount of XP, and it's good to practice your spells on. So now, this map goes like in a circle, if you're not careful about how you pilot your ship, so to speak. So we're going to go back up north and then west. But as you see there, I go to the part where later you're going to come to where that darker blue was. You're going to need a canoe. As you see here, my strategy right now is just mainly welling on them. We like to be barbarians on them sometimes. Even my magical people, I like to make them stronger in their hit power as well. Like not only their health hit powers, but their actual weapon hit powers. But here and oh look, here's a port, but I don't see a town, so let's not use that port. Let's go on down and around, because if I learned anything is you want to follow that land so you don't get lost, or you're just going to do circles around this map, which I do the first time I play this game, and it's very frustrating, because it does not function in the way that one would think. By you going one direction to the side, you're not going to come back out on the other side of the map, going the same way, and up and down vice versa. As you see here, we are back in Cornelia, which is where we need to be so that we can go that's where we need to be to go to Montoya's Cave, and if I'm not mistaken, there's something else coming up here too. Now, I had said earlier I can remember if I went to all three places or not, and if I hadn't, I was going to be going to all three before I continued. But the first place I did go was the Chaos Shrine. I just didn't remember that because I did 2 parts of this gameplay last time. So, when you go in here, you just watch and see. You're going to get 3 things here in the Chaos Shrine. Okay, but it looks like instead of... that's once you get the Mythic Key. And I didn't go all the way through it because I was thinking maybe I don't need to be here yet. I got to wake this prince up. I wasn't really sure, again, where to go. So I'm telling you, you want to go back in there. And you will see that later I do come back there and go through. But you're going to want to go, when you go in there, don't do like I did in her when I come back out and then sail away and come back again. Because you're going to get 3 items in there with your Mythic Key. Like I said, this game can be tricky because there's no direct clues as to where to go. So at this point, I have went in the Chaos Shrine, but I didn't open anything with my Mythic Key. I wasn't sure where to go. Now, you can avoid this mistake. The way I would do this in retrospect is I would go to the Elfin Castle, then back down the caves, and then over to the Chaos Shrine where I was at, and then up here where we're at now, which is Montoya's Cave, where we trade the eye for the Jolt Potion. I did it a little backwards. That'll maybe save you some grief though, because like I said, I'm playing this through with no idea what to do. Now, while I'm battling these wolves here, I'm going to remind you, again, there's no clear directions on where to go in this game. And in this case, I kind of got lost because I got distracted and we have Cornelia down under the bridge that was rebuilt for you. But you have Provoca over here to the east, and you can easily walk through the woods to Provoca, which is what I ended up doing. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute, there's no ship here in this port. So then I'm like, I'm in the wrong town. Now I've got to backtrack. So I was a little lost here. So don't go the way that I did. Go back down to Cornelia first if you want. I mean, this way works too, but I mean, I definitely leveled up more. But it was not my intention. So I figured while I was here, why not rest up? Let's just recheck the shops like I mentioned doing. You want to recheck and make sure you got everything in all these areas. I was pretty certain I'd have, but I wasn't 100% sure. Mainly, I rested up here, as you can see, and I'm like, alright, well, we're definitely not supposed to be here because where's my ship? And so now, I'm just kind of gonna waste some time trying to figure out how to get back to Cornelia on my ship. But it's good for leveling up, at least. So as you can see, I got quite a bit of grinding done here, trying to find my way back to where I was at. So I'm not really complaining about that because all that grinding gives me experience and gil, which I'm going to use later. Never can have too much experience, especially when you get to the big bads. You see, you're running a little bit of one by down there. Got to find our way back where we're going because we went the wrong way looking for hell. We're going to just find some this one. Now, I mentioned to you earlier that I go back and check these towns, and the first time I just went in, I stayed at the inn and I left. But as you see now, I'm coming back, I'm talking to this guy. He's going to tell me about Melman. Keep that in mind, because we're going to end up going there next. That's our next target. But as you see, I go in, I'm checking my magic shops, I'm making sure that I have everything that I want from this town to my satisfaction before I continue. And I suggest that you always do that. Just go back and look, because sometimes we will leave towns before we get everything we want. I try not to do that, but sometimes we do. Alright, so here I'm back in the Chaos Shrine. You see I'm grinding, I'm kind of working on that spell work a little bit. First time I was in there, I was like, I don't think it's supposed to be here. I forgot that I was supposed to use the Mythic Key there. So then I was like, you know what, let me go by and check, because I think I do need it there. I think there were some locked doors, so as you see, that's what I'm doing now. I'm grinding my way back through there to get those. And it's a good thing I decided to go back to the Marsh Caves, because when we get back there, you will see that the first time around, I did miss some things. Alright, as you see, I left Cornelia. I'm headed down towards south to Helen. I'm heading west. Because you guessed it, that's right. We're going back to Elf Pump. Going back in that castle and we're hitting those caves again. Now you notice I got 3 weapons in there. And I got the hammer for my little white mage. And so their hits are stronger. I fully advise on these games you always take the time to explore everything in every place. Even if you're too weak to do it the first time, go back in, like you'll see me do later here with these marsh caves, and see what I missed. You don't want to miss anything. And on one of them, I think it's the second one, if you don't explore the whole ship before the first time around, you can't. You just lost all those items that you didn't get because it flies away and you never see it again. So always, always, always check. But in this one, you don't have to worry about that. Everything is stationary. So now you see that I made it back to the Elf Prince, and I've got the Jolt Tonic, and it's like, yay! Now our prince is awake. Okay, now when I get down here, I struggle a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, coming up here trying to get to this room in this castle, because this game, if you do not take those steps and run this castle just the right way, it's going to put you back out into the woods and stuff. So you're going to see me struggle with that for a few minutes, but then eventually I get in there, and you get some pretty sweet prizes in here, I must say. Then we're going to make our way back to the Marsh Caves. As you see, I'm struggling with that a little bit, and I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go back in here for a minute because it's getting very frustrating. And I need to just, again, double check my spells here because, remember, I told you I took off one that I didn't think I wanted to. So I'm like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to double check these spells and make sure the ones I have are the ones I want to keep right now. And as you can see, I'm mainly worried about that white mage's spells right now. And I'm gonna trade off one for healing because I definitely need my healing. It's easier than doing potions all the time. Now you see, I'm like, alright, we're gonna get into that room in this dang castle, buddy. So here we go, like a slapstick comedy routine. It's like, you're out to get there, what is going on? Well, you're not going the right way, sister, for one. I mean, you might could go all the way and run it that way. I didn't try. But probably not. I think it would just be easier to do it the other way, as you'll eventually see. You gotta hug that wall. That's what I was trying to do earlier, but I think I was like turning into it too soon or something. I'm not real sure. As you see, I'm struggling again, and I'm like, ah, frustration, loading, and out again. Isn't that fun? Ugh. No, it's not fun. So I'm like, alright, well, can you go this way? No, you freaking can't. So, I'm like, alright, how am I gonna do this? I know, but that's not right either, so... And I thought, well, maybe this will go through on one side. It does not. It's just an empty courtyard. So then I kick it into run mode. You do not want to run though when you're on the outside there, because it will definitely throw your ass back out. So you get to watch me make a fool of myself here a little bit, trying to make my way around. Like, oh, okay, this way. Oh no, can't go that way, like I said, and probably not a good idea, huh? So then I'm like, well, let me try it again, hugging the wall. Okay, well, hey, so far so good. But again, kicked out. So, as you see, I'm trying my wall hugging strategy again, but this time it's actually working. I didn't go in too early. Don't do that, because it will kick you out. So I'm like, oh, I got it. But I got to stay up against this wall because I'm like terrified I'm going to get kicked out. And then, as you see, we get some pretty nice prizes right here. And a lot of money. Very nice. Worth all that frustration I get to, definitely. As you see, kind of just around. I was grinding on the sea and then I grinded my way back to here. Just funny thing, I was still struggling to figure out where to go exactly. But I like grinding is worth it, so it's okay.